Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Sierra Center. Let me mute the in-room monitor so we don't get feedback. We're going to get started as folks are gathering here in person. I want to welcome you on YouTube, Zoom, and Facebook. We're going to get started. Marilyn Gale is our musician this morning, so I invite you to lift your voice. Let's join in song. Here we go.
Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. You can't hate your neighbor with your mind stayed on spirit. Oh, you can't hate your neighbor with your mind stayed on spirit. You can't hate your neighbor with your mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. You love everybody with your heart stayed on spirit. Oh, you can love everybody with your heart stayed on spirit. You love everybody in your heart stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, oh, hallelujah. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Oh, you know, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, oh, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. All right, everybody to fire up your lights. Here we go. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, 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 I'm gonna let my little light shine. Everywhere that I may go, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, everywhere that I may go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere that I may go, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, 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 every I'm gonna let my little light shine. Let that light shine on through. I'm gonna let it shine on me and shine on you. Oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it show what the power of love can do. I'm gonna let it shine every day, 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 every day. I'm gonna let my little light shine. What day? Monday gave me the gift of love. Tuesday, peace came sure enough. Wednesday told me to have more faith. Thursday gave me a little more grace. Friday told me to sing and pray. Saturday told me what to say. Sunday gave me power divine to let my little light shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine every day, 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 every day. I'm gonna let my little light shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Ready for the big finish? Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So again, my name is Reverend Rafe Ellis, and I am honored and privileged to be the senior minister here at Sierra Center for Spiritual Living. And I want to welcome anyone that has joined us on YouTube, Facebook, or Zoom. I want to welcome all of you in the room. I know we have a couple of new faces, so welcome, welcome. And let me remind us of who we are and share with you who we are. We are a radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, supportive community that celebrates the very diversity of creation. We strive to live authentic spiritual lives through a practical application of the teachings of science of mind. We engage in sacred practices that uplift our spirit, deepen our awareness, and ignite our soul's self-expression. We demonstrate active compassion to ourselves, each other, and the world. And we experience meaningful contribution through giving generously of our time, talents, and treasures. And we intentionally promote our community and our teachings. So if you have your cell phone handy, whether you're in the room or wherever you are, and you can grab this live stream and share it on whatever social media platforms you play on, you can participate in sharing these teachings, just making it available to folks. And so one of the things that we do every Sunday morning to demonstrate our inclusivity is our inclusion candle lighting ritual. And we light these candles to celebrate the unity of all people, all faiths, all beings, all life. We light the first candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples. We light the second candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the third candle for Taoism, honoring the path of ultimate reality, the natural way. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the middle way and path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the teachings of Jesus as the path of love, forgiveness, and healing by the presence within. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought teachings, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles of love and law. We light the 10th candle for absolute inclusivity, affirming that all are welcome and celebrated here. And we light this final candle, honoring the infinity of oneness as all creation, seen and unseen. Thank you, Reverend Madeline. And so now I'm going to turn it back over to Marilyn for our next community song. Here we go.
I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved like a tree that's planted by the water. I shall not be moved. Glory, hallelujah, I shall not be moved. Glory, hallelujah, I shall not be moved like a tree that's planted by the water. I shall not be moved. Though the tempest rages, I shall not be moved. On the rock of ages, I shall not be moved like a tree that's planted by the water. I shall not be moved. We're all colors together, we shall not be moved. All colors together, we shall not be moved like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved.
Thank you, Marilyn. So this is our time of announcements. A couple of things. I want to welcome the folks that have joined us while we were doing some music. Welcome. Remind us that we're still dancing. Not ready for that quite yet, Juanita. We're still dancing with all of the re-entry stuff. And as much as we want to quickly get back to where we're having refreshments and food and all of that, Right now, the current recommendations is that we not do that, that we not have bulletins, that we not have a lot of things that people touch. And so we are not doing that yet, but soon, soon. Okay, now we're ready for the slides. So we are open, and we do have our system in place that lets you communicate your comfort zone to other folks. If you want folks to stay 6 feet away from you and wear a mask when they are interacting with you, you wear a red strand of beads, and that communicates that to them. If you're not sure and you're kind of navigating it one person at a time, 1 minute at a time, you wear a red one if you choose. Yellow, thank you. Or you can just be confused. If you're good interacting with folks without masks, with no distancing, then you can wear a green one. And this simply, you don't have to use it. It's an option. It allows you to communicate your comfort zone without having to have the conversation over and over and over again with everyone you interact with. We do ask that to honor everyone in this process, if you're wearing a green strand of beads and you're interacting with someone that's wearing a red strand of beads, that you have a mask handy that you can put on and keep your distance while you're actually interacting with that person to honor their comfort zone. So, hope that makes sense with folks. Okay, our next is our upcoming monthly Actualizing Wholeness discussion group. Our next one is August 3rd from 4:30 to 6. We are working with the teachings and practices of David Bohm. And David Bohm was a physicist that really lived in the question. He questioned everything. And then he taught this practice of dialogue where we really question and then just sit and listen to what the universe is sparking in us that we may not even have known was in us to talk about. And so it really is just a discussion sandbox. It's not scripted. We just get together. There are some videos in the newsletter that we recommend you watch ahead of time, and those change monthly. And if those videos spark discussion, great. And if they don't, great. My experience of this group is always brilliant discussion, even when it's completely unplanned. So I invite you to join us with that. Okay. So this is our time of inward shift. And so I invite you to just release everything that's holding your attention for the next little bit. Reverend Madeline's going to come and speak to us briefly about our community value. We have 7 of those. We touch on one every week, and so we keep cycling through them, having different experiences of them. And then she will lead us into the meditation. She will bring us out of the meditation with our opening spiritual mind treatment, which is simply affirmative prayer. And then she will lead us in reading our affirmation. Here we go.
Good morning, everyone. Is this on? Oh, good. Oh, it's so nice to be here and see people out. Thank you for being here, and thank everyone for being here online as well. So today our community value is community. And I wanted to just start with a quote from Parker Palmer. Some of you may know him. He's a Quaker. He says, "Community cannot take root in a divided life. Long before community assumes external shape and form, it must be present as a seed in the undivided self." And since we're all one, that's just reinforcing our teachings. Only as we are in communion with ourselves can we find community with others. Community is an outward and visible sign of the inward and an indivisible grace. the flowing of personal identity and the integrity into the world of relationships. So I know all of you have experienced community, and it's very powerful, and it's one of the reasons we come together here. But it's also everywhere in our world. There's, there's like certain qualities and traits of it that we all know, which is obviously membership. And then also, there's an influence that we have on each other. Just by being in this room, you are influencing everyone else in the room. It's a subtle thing, and it could be a smile, a wink, a little chuckle. It could be almost anything, so that there is an impact on others in the community. And that there's an integration, because we are all here together. And we do have a fulfillment of needs. We all came here for a reason today. And it may be something I say often, and usually something Rafe says, and you just never know what that little tidbit's going to be. And then we are sharing an emotional connection and influence as well. It's amazing. And you look in the world. Elephants have community. They hang out together in the wild. You've got the moms and the babies, and the daddies hang out, and then they come back, and anyway, you know about that kind of stuff. So, and then the other thing that's so powerful about community is that there is a group in Texas that brings together into a camp girls whose mothers have been incarcerated, so that there is a commonality and a bond and a sense of community, because those kids are going through trauma, as are their mothers. But it's just such a powerful thing of coming together in community. And the healing that goes on and the comfort that goes on is just amazing. And those are just two very obvious examples. There are so many examples of community in action. It's in our beings. And so I want to just end this with one other quote from Parker Palmer. Community is a place where the connections felt in our hearts make themselves known in bonds between people, and where the tuggings and the pullings of those bonds keep opening our hearts. So let's go within. Let's take this into meditation. Gently come back into the room or settle into your chair wherever you are. And open up to that inner knowing, that spaciousness, that infinite, that one divine source of all that is in and through all, the power, the creativity, the light, the love, the compassion, the ingenuity. There is just such amazing characteristics of infinity. And I know and accept that each and every one of us are part of that greater whole. And we are the products of Creator. We are Creator in individualized form. And I know and accept that we truly, truly are in that wholeness of the one. So from this ground of being, this knowingness that we are divine spirit, and that there is that creative urge within us that we co-create our reality, I know and accept that each and every community that I interact with is a blessing in my life. And I know and accept that every community that each and every one of us have ever been connected with has given us gifts. And I know and accept that we are growing and expanding and creating, and the goodness of those gifts is magnified through our lives. I just know and accept that as I reflect on the communities that I've been one with in the past, my gratitude is beyond measure. I just know and accept that each and every spiritual community that I participate in, I do so with joy, with happiness, with that fellowship of others walking the path. And I just know and accept that there is joy and lightness and laughter and deep learning and lessons and comfort and tears and healing grief. I know all of it is good. And I know that I experience it in divine community. And I know for each and every person who hears these words that you are wealthy, healthy, and wise, that your heart is beating strongly, and you are perfect vitality, and you have prosperity in your life in infinite forms. And I know and accept that you are a divine co-creator and divinely guided in all of your steps. So I just know and accept that Spirit is alive in each and every one of us. And I am so grateful that the law is in action, and it always says, absolutely so. It is done as you believe. So I accept these words. I know these words. Oh, and I take them in. And with trust, grace, love, conviction, and knowing, I let them go. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you. Oh. So now is the time for our affirmation. And what I will do is I will read it once, and then we'll read it together. So that'll be so powerful. Divine Spirit is flowing powerfully as me. Now together. Divine Spirit is flowing powerfully as me. And so it is. Thank you all.
All right, I want to take a moment to give credit where credit is due. First of all, my compositions don't originate from me, but through me. And this song was inspired after my last Great Depression, which, when I think about it, I think it's about a dozen years ago that happened. And I was highly influenced by the Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith when this song was born. in the morning I find it hard to get up. I'm thinking, what's it all mean? Oh, and why should I care? I drag myself through another day. Oh, I'm just looking down and I've got nothing to share. Go through the motions, I get it all done. I've got what I need, but I'm having no fun. I know deep inside there's a reason for life, and it's not for me to suffer. Pain pushes till the vision pulls. Cloak of pain protects me. Fear and doubt can make us act like fools, but I'm the only one who can reject me. Some practice getting out of the way, opening up to a brighter day. There's no need to question, there's no room for doubt. I am what I see, oh, the inside is out. I know deep inside there's a reason for life. It's time to ignite the fire. Pain pushes till the vision pulls. The sight of glory has touched me. We don't have to follow the rules. Inspiration has rushed me. The world does not give us anything. We are here to give our gifts to the world. That's worth repeating. Here it comes again. The world does not give us anything. We are here to give our gifts to the world. Pain pushes till the vision pulls. The sight of glory has touched me. We don't have to follow the rules. Inspiration has rushed me. The sight of glory has touched me. Inspiration has rushed me. Pain pushes till the vision pulls.
Indeed it does. And what a perfect song to wrap up the month where we're looking at being pulled by vision. This year we're kind of doing the whole cycle of catching the vision and then figuring how we're going to put that into practice, or allow it to put us into practice is a bit more accurate. And then we just keep doing that a little more deeply each time. And so today's talk title is Free Your Mind. Anybody else here en vogue every time I say that? It's like I've been working on this talk for a while, and every time I read the talk title, my brain goes, free your mind, the rest will follow. Let me just date myself. And actually, I invite you to look up the lyrics to that song. It actually fits pretty well with the topic. Here's the thing. Before we can free our minds, first let's play with, what do we even mean by mind? What do we mean by mind? Because if you look it up, if you consult the gospel according to Google, there's an ongoing conversation about whether or not, it's the chicken or the egg. Did the brain create mind, or did the mind create the brain? Because scientifically, they're looking at mind as the production or awareness of thought. In New Thought, we're looking at mind with the capital M, meaning consciousness itself. Now, it gets tricky in New Thought because we use words in multiple ways, much like the English language does. That's not new to us. But we use our mind to be aware of mind, right? And that's where it gets a little confusing. Consciousness. I love the word consciousness, and sometimes it just becomes comical, that I can be physiologically conscious, that I am a conscious being made from consciousness, but only if I'm conscious of the consciousness through my consciousness. Right? It's like, what? So when we're talking about mind this morning, we're talking about mind as in creation, as in consciousness, as in source. And we're talking about it in terms of our mental awareness. Because to free mind, we have to free our use of it, which is our awareness. The other thing I want to bring up for your consideration before I launch into too much of the talk is this idea of human nature. Do humans even have a nature? Think about it. Nature, when I look it up, is untouched by humanity. So how is it that we have a human nature? How is it that humanity is a state of condition, physical condition, and nature is untouched by condition? So how do we actually have a human nature? I don't think we do. I think we default to that because that's what we've been trained to believe, is that the generational conditioning of humanity is actually our nature. It is a limitation that we have bought into. And perhaps we're way more than this idea of human nature. Perhaps our nature is actually divinity, and our holding on to the belief that we have a human nature is the very thing that gets in the way of us experiencing our divine nature. Perhaps that is the greatest thing we need to free our minds from. Viktor Frankl, I knew it was in there. Viktor Frankl, one of the greatest things that he ever said was the most effective, the most efficient prison is the one that we don't know we're in, because we make no attempt to escape it. Human nature, I think, is one of those prisons. That we simply live this unquestioned experience of human nature because we don't ever consider that it's a prison of limitation that we don't have to settle for. Perhaps, while you're digesting that, I want to read what Ernest Holmes says. You have not been left alone here to fight a losing battle, or contend against powers of evil. You have been left alone to discover your real nature, that as an individual you may consciously unite with the law of life and the presence of good. Just keep right on knocking at the door of your consciousness until every no becomes a yes, every negation an affirmation, every fear a faith. You cannot fail if you remain steadfast. Finally, the fetters of bondage will drop from you. You will walk out of your self-imposed prison only to discover that the door was never really locked and the windows were not actually barred. You were bound merely by the chains of unbelief. And that is on page 40 of this thing called you. And so what if the things that are keeping us tethered really have no power, have no more power than that flimsy plastic chair that was very effectively keeping that horse in place? Because let's be real, if the horse wanted to move, it could very easily move. And in its movement would eventually shake that chair loose from its reins. And so perhaps the invitation is for us to move, for us to move in consciousness, right? But how the heck do we do that? How do we do that when everything I think feels normal, right? I've thought it my entire life because I was taught to think it. In some circles, that's called karma. We misunderstand karma. If you talk to those people that practice some of the karmic disciplines, they will tell you karma is not about some spirit in the ethers paying you back for something you messed up. We made that up. Right? Karma is the tendencies that we have learned generation to generation being passed on as if they're the truth. Right? And so we have these karmic patterns that we engage in. I was recently watching a whole set of documentaries about the history of the United States. And it was phenomenal to watch the brilliance of creation move through the imagination of these people that discovered oil and discovered how to use it and then discovered how to move it from one location to the other and how to refine it and on and on and on. That figured out how to build a train and how to build the train track and how to do all of that. And then to watch where they took it, to greed, to power. It was not about the magnificence of creation. Once they had the idea, right? Once they had the things that actually advanced us, then the game, and it literally became a game. If you watch how these guys negotiated, it became a game to manipulate, to see who could establish the most power based on who had the most money and controlled the most stuff. It's not about that. It's about the creative process. It is about tapping in to the imagination. There are things that we have yet to imagine that our souls just want to experience, and the only thing stopping us is us. And mostly what's stopping us is this notion that somebody else is smarter, Somebody else is wiser. Somebody else is better equipped to imagine the brilliance that is in you waiting to be noticed. Nobody else can do you but you. Whatever ideas the divine is wanting to express as you are yours. This lie that you don't have what it takes to make them happen, that's a lie. Because every one of us is fully equipped with the infinite of creation itself. Right? We already have everything we could possibly need to manifest who we came here to be, but we keep believing the lie that we don't. If I had my Science of Mind book here, we'd go to, I think it's page 35, where it talks in a little bit of a circle, where he talks about how if you believe Science of Mind doesn't work, you actually prove that it does work by believing that it doesn't work. Right? Because our thoughts are manifested. And so if you believe it doesn't work, guess what? In your life, not going to work. Does that prove that it works? Pretty sure it does. Right? So here's the thing. If we can prove that it does work by not working it, all we have to change is how we're using it. Step from impossibility into possibility. Begin to play in the imagination. Begin with just, I wonder if. Start where you are. Okay? There's this great quote by Patricia Diane Cota-Robles, the author of Raising Consciousness, The Shift from Separation to Oneness. She says this: trying to change physical conditions without changing my consciousness is like trying to change the reflection in the mirror without changing the object causing the reflection. We have to change what we're telling ourselves. Now, here's the trick, and I've tried this. You can tell yourself whatever you want, but if you don't deal with the belief that's arguing back of what you're telling yourself, what you're actually going to continue to manifest is the hidden belief. That's why we call them hidden beliefs. Okay? They are operating so efficiently. How do you know what your hidden beliefs are? It's so easy and yet so distressing. Want to know what you believe? Look at your life. Look at your life. Because our thoughts, our beliefs show up in the form of our life. And so if things are showing up in your life that you go, ew, where did that come from? Well, the good news and the bad news is it came from your consciousness, your use of consciousness. Now, let me be really clear. That does not talk, I'm not talking about physical natural law. I'm not talking about hurricanes and tornadoes. Weather is weather. Weather is a function of natural law. I'm not talking about other people's behavior. Except if you continue to subject yourself to someone's behavior that you don't want to be subjected to, at some point you got to ask yourself, if you don't want a haircut, why do you keep going to the barbershop? Right? Because we do that, right? We go to the barbershop, we get a haircut, and then we gripe that somebody cut our hair. We have experiences in relationship. And then we blame the person we're in relationship with as if somehow we have no power to walk away. If you don't like the relationship you're in, either change the relationship, accept it as it is, or get out. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. And each of those requires us to change our thought. was having a conversation with some fellow ministers the other day, and we were talking about how it seems that people relate to this idea of changing consciousness as if they can not do it, right? As if there's a place where you can just be completely divorced from the law of manifesting what you believe. You cannot. You cannot. That's like, and what came out of my mouth that we all cracked up about, that's kind of like going into labor and deciding, nope, not going to have the baby. Nope, not going to do it, not going to have the baby. Right? Good luck with that. Right? Once labor has begun, once the process of birth has begun, something is going to be birthed. You can resist it all you want. You can declare you're not going to give birth, but trust me, you are. And you will either give birth and nurture your idea, or you will give birth and abandon your idea. But you will birth it because it's yours to birth, and the labor has already started. And so I invite you, open up. Embrace the unknown. Trust that your nature is divinity. And what you think is your human nature that is arguing with your divinity is just fear that is waiting to be birthed into faith. And so have a conversation with that part of you that's afraid. Talk to it like you would a child that you love. I get it, you're scared. Tell me what you're afraid of. Why do I ask that part of me to tell me what it's afraid of? Because there's the juice on what I need to change in my consciousness. I'm afraid of failure. Great. Tell me how you see us failing. Well, we don't have enough money. Great. We don't need money. We are made of divine, infinite power, and all of the money that we need for this to come to fruition already exists, and we just need to step into it, and the money will show up because that's how God works. That's how creation works. What else you got? What else you afraid of? Right? To have that conversation with yourself, to play it out. And you get to choose. Am I going to surrender to the fear, or am I going to take a risk? I will leave you with this. There are moments in my household where I literally will stand up from my couch or my computer and turn around to the vacant space and say, "You welcome to sit right here and do nothing, but I'm going to go live life." And then I go about my day. Now, if anybody saw that, they might think I'm a little bit crazy because I'm the only one in the room. But it works because that part of me that's like paralyzed, I can't. Okay, fine, don't. But I'm going. See ya. Right? If I want to act like two people in my head, great. I'm going to embrace both of us. Whatever works, use it. Whatever works, use it. Just know you are a divine, intentional, purposeful manifestation of consciousness itself, fully infused with all of the power that has ever been available to create anything, lives, moves, and has its being as you. And you get to use it however you want. You just don't ever get to not use it. Be a choice. Let's take this into prayer. And so I simply recognize, I recognize, I know again the one mind, infinite possibility, absolute abundance, creation begun, continuous, unfolding itself without interruption, without hesitation, fully infusing its creation with all that it is, surrounding its creation with all that it is. And so I know that I am that. I know that I am a divine idea in the mind of creation itself, in infinite mind, in absolute consciousness. That it lives, moves, and has its being as me. And what is true of me is true of every expression of life. And so all life is mind expressing. And so I speak my word, claiming and affirming, speaking into realization, making real in experience that humanity is awakening to align with the divine nature of its being. No longer restricted, no longer tethered by the lie of human nature. We let that go. And we step into divine nature. And we get about the business as humanity of being that. And as we be the truth of who and what we are, a world for everyone must manifest in alignment with spiritual principle. And so I celebrate. I celebrate that the word spoken is the word done. And so I know it's already done. I don't need to see it to know it. I need to know it to see it. And so I do. And so I let go. Knowing it is already complete, there's nothing more to do other than to release and step into an experience of it. And so I invite you to step into a new experience of you, a new experience of everyone and everything, as we say together, and so it is. Let's take a breath together as we shift gears here. All right. So this is our time of conscious giving. At the beginning, we talk about we give generously of our time, talents, and treasures, and this is that time. If you are joining us virtually, if you're joining us online, we ask that you go to www.sierracenter.org/donate.html, and it will guide you through how you can support this ministry through your conscious fiscal giving. If you're here in the room, our usher is going to bring the basket around. We're not actually passing it person to person yet because there's still stuff we don't necessarily want to share with each other, and we don't know where it is because we can't see the little booger. So, all right, let's say our intentional giving affirmation together. I give this gift with love and joy from a consciousness of abundance. Divine love blesses and prospers all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
I am opening to love. I am opening to love. I can spread my wings Love is everything. I am open to love. I am opening to love.
Thank you, Marilyn. All right, let me get on camera here. New things to navigate. And so I just quickly speak a word of blessing for this divine energy of the infinite in the form and function of money, knowing that we give through Sierra Center to do great work in the world and support those who do the same. And so it is. All right, so reminders. Our August 3rd, Actualizing Wholeness group. Mark your calendars. August 22nd, my officially wife-sanctioned boyfriend, Gary Lynn Floyd, will be joining us as our guest musician. If you are not familiar with Gary Lynn Floyd, check him out on YouTube. You really want to be here to experience him. He will be here August 22nd. Cannot wait to be back in community with my brother from another mother. He is just amazing. Also, I'm working on another class, and it will be a 4-week class literally on this idea of taking stock of what we mean by the words that we use. We're going to use just the first chapter of Don Miguel Ruiz's 4 Agreements. We're not even going to worry about 4 Agreements. We're just going to dive into that first chapter where he talks about how language functions in our brain as agreements that we unconsciously follow. And so as I have that, we're going to finish up the class that I'm doing right now, and then we'll roll that one out. I also want to let you know that the Board of Trustees is taking on the mantle of fundraising this year quite literally. We came to consensus this past Thursday during our meeting, and we are going to do a board walkathon, stepathon, stepping into our future. And we're going to invite folks to pledge a certain amount per 10,000 steps that each board member will do, and you can pick which board member you want to support. We've got some really cool software that is actually is creating a page for each board member and is going to handle all of it. So it's just a really cool system. And so we're approaching this from leadership requires that we be physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually present. And so we're going to do all of that as we endeavor to do 10,000 steps a day each, which is about 5 miles each, and we'll see how we do. And while we're in that process, we have committed to use that as a spiritual practice where we're listening to divine guidance on how to lead this center and how to be in community and how to catch the vision of a new iteration of Sierra Center as we come out of this weird time that we're in. So there'll be more information on that. The actual step counting will be from the month of September, but we're going to roll it out a little bit ahead of time to give folks time to pledge. So just know that's coming. So when you see it, you'll be like, oh, that's what he was talking about. Okay, I think that's it. So let's stand and do our benediction. Here we go. Something wonderful is happening as me right now. It is this thing called life. It is this thing called mind. It is this thing called imagination. I know it. I feel it. I sense it because I am it. And so it is. All right, Miss Marilyn, sing us out.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith